You walk into the softly lit room, carrying a weight you can't quite name. The air is quiet, but it isn't empty. It holds a kind of invitation, a space waiting just for you. You take a seat across from me, your psychiatrist, and for a moment, your eyes meet mine. It's as if something unspoken passes between us. The fragile acknowledgement of two human beings trying to connect. In this moment, you begin to speak. You may not realize it yet, but the very act of speaking here, of sharing your thoughts, fears, and memories, is more than just communication. It is a declaration of your existence. When you say the words, you are shaping your reality, giving form to the parts of yourself that may have felt lost or silenced. In the quiet space of this therapeutic room, your voice becomes a lifeline, not just to me, but to yourself. You start hesitantly, perhaps unsure if what you have to say matters. But as you continue, your voice gains strength. The sentences flow, weaving a story that only you can tell. You describe the loneliness that has shadowed your days, the anxiety that knots your stomach, the moments when life felt unbearably heavy. Every word you utter is a bridge spanning the distance between isolation and connection. Irvin Yalom, a pioneer of existential psychotherapy, emphasized this exact phenomenon. He believed that to speak is to affirm one's being. In his work, the therapeutic dialogue is not simply a method for uncovering hidden truths. It is the very act that brings the self into focus. By articulating your experience, you are claiming your place in the world, insisting that your pain, your hopes, and your struggles are real and worthy of attention. In this room, your story is not just heard, it is witnessed. And that witnessing is transformative. It allows you to step out of the shadows of invisibility and into the light of recognition. When you tell me your fears about death or your doubts about freedom, when you confess your feelings of isolation or your search for meaning, you are engaging in a sacred act. You are reminding yourself that you are here, that you matter, that you are more than your suffering. You might think that speaking is easy, but for many, finding the words is a profound challenge. Sometimes silence dominates, thick and heavy. You may struggle to express feelings that seem too vast or too painful. But even in those moments, your presence, your willingness to be here, is a powerful affirmation. The dialogue between us includes silence as much as speech. And in that shared quiet, your existence is still being acknowledged. As your psychiatrist, I listen not just to your words, but to the spaces between them. I watch your eyes, your posture, the tremble in your voice. I try to understand the unspoken as much as the spoken. This shared attention creates a refuge, a container where your existence can unfold without judgment. It is here that healing begins, in the recognition that you are not alone in your experience. The dialogue we share is not a one-way street. As you speak, I respond, offering reflections, questions, and empathy. Our conversation becomes a dance, a meeting of minds and hearts. This interaction helps you see yourself through another's eyes, breaking the isolating grip of self-doubt. You begin to realize that your experience, while deeply personal, resonates with universal human concerns. In this process, your voice grows stronger, your sense of self more grounded. You start to understand that speaking is not just about telling a story. It's about building a bridge to your own existence, piece by piece. Each session, each word, is a step toward reclaiming yourself. You may recall a moment from one of our conversations when you hesitated to say something that felt dangerous or shameful, but you found the courage to speak anyway. That moment marked a turning point, an act of bravery that rippled through your inner world. Speaking became an act of survival and resistance, a way to hold on to your identity amid the chaos. This power of dialogue is not confined to therapy. It echoes through every aspect of your life. When you speak openly with friends, family, or even strangers, you continue to affirm your presence in the world. You claim your right to be seen and heard. This ongoing process is at the heart of human connection and the foundation for authentic living. So, as you leave this room and return to your daily life, remember that your voice is your anchor. In speaking, you exist fully, vulnerably, beautifully. And no matter how difficult the path ahead, that truth remains. To speak is to be. You step into the room again, but this time, something feels different. The air, still calm, carries a subtle warmth, a quiet promise of safety. You notice a familiar chair across from me, the soft light that doesn't blind but gently embraces the space. This room has become more than just four walls. It has become a sanctuary, a refuge from the relentless storm that churns inside you. Here, you are not judged, not hurried, not dismissed. You arrive with the heavy burden of your fears and doubts, and yet something about this place invites you to set that weight down, even if just for a moment. It is within this shared space that the therapeutic relationship unfolds, a connection between two human beings that transcends the clinical, the transactional. It is an encounter marked by trust, empathy, and authenticity. You might recall the first few sessions, when speaking felt like walking on thin ice, when every word was measured, when silence sometimes stretched uncomfortably between us. But gradually, the distance began to soften. The barriers you held up, walls built by past hurts and disappointments, started to crack, revealing the fragile core beneath. In this safe haven, you found permission to be vulnerable, to show parts of yourself you had long hidden. Irvin Yalom speaks of this relationship as a holding environment, a term borrowed from Winnicott, which described a psychological space where one feels protected and understood. It is within this environment that you begin to confront the most daunting questions of existence: the inevitability of death, the burden of freedom, the pain of isolation, and the search for meaning. Without the sanctuary of this therapeutic bond, such confrontations might seem unbearable or isolating. Here, you realize you're not alone. You have a companion who witnesses your suffering without turning away, who listens deeply and responds with genuine care. This presence itself becomes a balm, soothing the raw edges of your fears. The connection you build with me mirrors the connections you yearn for in your wider life, connections that are real, accepting, and healing. The sanctuary we create together is not about erasing your pain, but about holding it with kindness and steadiness. You come to see that pain, though painful, is a part of your humanity, a signal of your aliveness. Through our relationship, you learn to face it, not as a threat, but as an invitation to growth. At times, you might feel tempted to withdraw, to retreat behind your defenses when vulnerability feels too risky. But the trust we cultivate encourages you to stay present, to lean into discomfort rather than flee from it. This courage to engage becomes a transformative force, reshaping your experience of yourself and the world. You notice how this sanctuary seeps into your life outside the therapy room. You find yourself more willing to open up to others, to seek connection rather than isolation. The therapeutic relationship models what healthy, authentic relating can look like. It teaches you that you can be seen and still be safe. As you move forward, you carry with you the knowledge that such a refuge is possible, that even amid chaos, there is a place where you can be held, where your existence is honored without conditions. This awareness becomes a source of resilience, a reminder that you are worthy of care and connection. So, as you leave today, remember that the therapeutic relationship is more than just sessions and conversations. It is a sanctuary where your existence is witnessed and embraced, a refuge that invites you to face life's existential challenges with courage and hope. You sit across from me, the quiet hum of the room wrapping around us like a gentle shield against the chaos outside. Today, our conversation turns toward the deepest questions, the existential givens that everyone faces but few dare to name aloud. Death, freedom, isolation, meaning. These are not abstract ideas here. They are the silent companions that have shadowed your life, sometimes lurking in the corners of your mind, sometimes roaring in moments of despair. You begin by speaking about your fear of death. It's a fear that has gripped you tightly, sometimes paralyzing your every move. You confess how the thought of your own mortality makes the world feel fragile, as if the ground beneath you could give way at any moment. But in this room, you find space to face that fear directly. Together, we explore what it means to live knowing that your time is finite, and how that knowledge can, paradoxically, give your life urgency and clarity. Irvin Yalom taught us that death is the ultimate existential boundary, and coming to terms with it is essential to authentic living. You start to see that avoiding this reality only increases anxiety, while confronting it can lead to profound freedom. The freedom to choose how you want to live each day. This awareness does not make the fear disappear, but it softens its grip, allowing you to reclaim agency over your life. Next, we turn to freedom. You speak of feeling trapped by expectations, by past choices, by circumstances that seem beyond your control. The responsibility of freedom, of having to make choices that define your existence, can feel like a burden. Yet here, in this therapeutic space, you begin to understand freedom not as a weight, but as a possibility. You are invited to recognize the power you hold to shape your own path, even if that path is uncertain or fraught with difficulty. Isolation is a theme you know intimately, the feeling that, despite being surrounded by others, you're fundamentally alone in your experience. This existential isolation is not just loneliness, it is the inherent separateness of being a self. But through our relationship, you find a bridge over that divide. The connection we build, fragile yet real, becomes a testament that isolation can be softened, if not entirely overcome. You are seen, understood, and that acknowledgement offers a reprieve from aloneness. Finally, we explore meaning, the quest that drives you even in the darkest times. You share moments when life felt empty or purposeless, when the search for meaning seemed futile. But in this space, we work together to uncover what matters to you, to find threads of significance woven through your story. Yalom believed that meaning is not given. It is created through living authentically and embracing the human condition with courage. By facing these existential givens together, you learn that you are not alone in your struggles. The therapeutic relationship becomes a shared journey, a partnership where you can confront fears and uncertainties with support and empathy. You discover that while the givens of existence are universal, your response to them is uniquely yours, and that gives you a measure of freedom and hope. As you leave today, you carry with you not just awareness, but a growing resilience. The knowledge that these fundamental challenges can be faced, not avoided, and that doing so opens the door to a richer, more authentic way of being. You come into the room today carrying an invisible weight, the burden of feeling unseen, misunderstood, perhaps even invisible to the world. As you settle into the chair across from me, you wonder if anyone will truly hear the parts of you that have long been silent. But here, in this space, something different is possible. Here, empathy and authenticity are not just words, they are the lifeblood of our connection. When you speak, I listen, not just to your words, but to the emotions beneath them, to the fears you might hesitate to name, to the hopes you barely dare to express. This listening is an act of profound empathy, a willingness to enter your experience without judgment or defense. You sense it in the way I reflect back your feelings, in the gentle questions I pose, and in the quiet moments where no words are needed. Through this empathy, you begin to feel seen for the first time in a long while. Irvin Yalom emphasizes that empathy is essential in existential therapy. It bridges the gap between isolated selves and creates a shared human experience. It reminds you that your suffering is not a solitary prison, but a door to connection. When empathy is paired with authenticity, that is, my genuine presence and honesty, you experience a relationship that is real, not just clinical. You feel safe enough to reveal your true self, with all its complexities and contradictions. This authentic presence invites you to do the same. You notice how the walls you build around your vulnerability begin to crumble, as you realize that you don't have to hide your fears or your pain. I don't just offer sympathy. I offer genuine understanding grounded in my own humanity. This authenticity models for you what it means to be fully human, to be imperfect, open, and connected. In this therapeutic space, the dual forces of empathy and authenticity create a powerful refuge against existential isolation. You begin to see that you are not alone in your struggle. Others have walked this path, and you are accompanied here by someone who honors your journey. This realization shifts your experience. Where once you felt cut off, now there's a bridge reaching out. You might recall moments when a therapist's honest response challenged you, perhaps even discomforted you, but ultimately helped you grow. That tension, born from authenticity, is not a threat, but an invitation to deeper self-exploration and healing. You learn that being truly seen, even when it feels risky, is a cornerstone of overcoming profound loneliness at the heart of existence. As you carry this experience beyond the therapy room, you find new courage to be authentic in your relationships outside. You notice how the simple act of showing your true self opens doors to connection and intimacy that were once closed. Empathy you receive inspires empathy you give. This cycle nurtures your sense of belonging in the world. Ultimately, empathy and authenticity in therapy do more than soothe. They transform. They offer a path from existential despair toward hope, from isolation toward belonging, and from silence toward voice. Through this shared journey, your existence is not only acknowledged but celebrated in its full, messy, beautiful reality. You walk into the room again, a quiet tension lingering beneath your skin. Today, we don't rush to fill the silence with words. Instead, you settle into the space between us, a space where silence speaks louder than any sentence. This moment, this presence, is part of our dialogue just as much as your voice. In therapy, you learn that communication goes beyond spoken language. The silence that stretches between your words, the way your eyes meet mine, the subtle shifts in your breath. All of these are expressions of your existence. This unspoken dialogue, this shared being with, create a profound connection that transcends mere conversation. Irvin, Yalom, and other existential thinkers remind us that presence, the act of simply being with another without agenda or distraction, is a powerful form of communication. It tells you that you are not alone, that your existence matters even when words fail you. This presence offers refuge when language feels insufficient to capture your inner world. Sometimes, you may come here feeling overwhelmed by emotions too complex or raw to express. You might find yourself grasping for words, but only managing silence. In these moments, the shared quiet becomes a sanctuary, a safe harbor where your being is acknowledged without pressure. This mutual presence holds space for healing in ways that words cannot. You might notice how your body relaxes when you feel truly seen, even if nothing is said. The simple act of sitting together, of sharing breath and space, fosters a connection that quiets the isolating noise inside you. This is the dialogue beyond words, the language of presence. Through this, you start to understand that existence is not only about what you say, but also about how you are with others and how others are with you. Being with is a form of relational existence, a reminder that you are embedded in a world of relationships that define and support you. As you leave today, remember that silence is not emptiness. It is a vessel for connection, a testament to your being. In the spaces between words, you find refuge, understanding, and a profound truth that you exist fully and authentically in relationship with another. You come into a room one last time in this journey, carry with you the echoes of all we've explored together, the fear, the hope, the pain, and the courage you've uncovered. This time, as you settle into the chair, there is a subtle shift. You feel something new stirring within you, a sense of connectedness, a fragile but growing bridge between your isolated self and the world beyond. Throughout our sessions, you have faced your existential fears with bravery. You have spoken your truths aloud, witnessed and held them with care. But more than that, you have discovered that transformation is born not in solitude but in relationship. It is through the therapeutic connection, that sacred refuge where speaking and being heard happen, that you have begun to emerge from isolation. Irvin, Yalom, and other great thinkers remind us that human existence is inherently relational. We are beings who define ourselves not only by who we are inside, but by how we relate to others. This transformation from isolation to connectedness is a journey of reclaiming your place in the web of life. You might reflect on moments when the weight of loneliness felt unbearable, and yet here, in this shared space, you found a glimpse of belonging. Each session has been a thread weaving you back into the fabric of human connection. Your existence, once fragmented by fear and doubt, is becoming whole through this relational healing. As you carry this awareness forward, you begin to reach out differently in your daily life. You find it easier to be present with others, to listen, to share, to trust. The bridge you've built here becomes a pathway for authentic relationships outside the therapy room. This transformation is not a destination, but a continual process. There will be challenges ahead, moments when isolation threatens to reclaim its hold. But you now possess the tools and the courage to face those moments with resilience. You know that you are never truly alone. Your existence is intertwined with others in ways both seen and unseen. So, as you step back into the world, remember the refuge you found here. The power of dialogue, the sanctuary of relationship, the courage to face existence as givens, the healing gift of empathy and authenticity, the refuge in presence and silence, and a profound transformation from isolation to connection. These gifts are yours to carry and to share. You exist. You matter. And through connection, you are becoming more fully yourself every day. Now that this journey into the depths of existence resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your voice matters here. Join our community where we explore life's biggest questions together. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of insight and healing. And tell me in the comments, what part of today's conversation spoke to you the most? Your story could inspire someone else. Let's keep this dialogue alive, because to speak is to exist, and here you are always heard. See you in the next video.